again, it's kind of like one of those things that like you really kind of have it within you. You have to, you have to really feel passionate about like what you're doing, and it has to kind of like, you know, I mean, performing needs to come from the inside out. You can't like constantly be looking around for validation from other people. It's just not enough, you know. Yeah, and I've had shows. I mean, because I've played open mics. I've played like open houses. I've had like larger scale concerts where the energy was awesome. But I've also had like, I've had times where I was background music, and I was playing to the walls, and that's something like when people aren't paying attention, it doesn't necessarily. I don't know. Like a lot of people, some people might take that personally, but I don't. My name's Ryan Auffenberg, and I'm 22 years old. Right now I'm living in Chicago, Illinois, and I would say, I guess in comparison to the two places where I've spent a lot of time before, it's a Midwestern city, so it's similar to St. Louis in that respect. It's quite a bit bigger, and a lot of people from where I grew up in St. Louis have moved here. Music's like a really passionate thing. I love writing and I love performing, and I love if, in playing something that I've written, if somebody can relate to it, if it bears some meaning for somebody else, like that's really cool. It's a really kind of gratifying feeling. A lot of stuff that I guess that I don't like about it is just kind of newer stuff that's happened like since I graduated from college and have decided to kind of do this, trying to make it as a living. There's a lot of like business sides of things that I'm not naturally inclined to do. I mean, you have to do them. You got to be on the phone a lot. There's like a lot of bullshit stuff that you have to do that if I had my way, I'd rather not. But it's just kind of, that's part of the game at this stage. I started looking into getting some studio time to record. And so for those few months, where I was living in St. Louis before I made the move up to Chicago, I recorded a disc, which is kind of like a demo, I suppose. Upon moving up here, kind of finalized all of that, and I started booking shows and sending it to some radio stations and just kind of trying to build a bit of a base around here and get some, experience playing live. So that's kind of the stage I'm in right now. They're fairly confessional, I guess, in the sense of like, I usually write about stuff that I'm kind of personally going through, and it's kind of like a catharsis for me. I would say, though they like touch on different themes, they're all coming from a similar place in the sense of like, most of the time it's something that I'm personally going through that kind of causes me to write or compels me to write. Don't you get uptight? See, that's just fate. Dropping a line on bed. Every line. You got nothing to lose. In terms of, I guess if you want to go with the conventional notion of making it, which means, I guess, people would say like, fame and fortune and all of that. I think that's a possibility. But where you run into problems, I think, as a musician, and in other fields too, I think, is kind of getting this, like, I think getting this concept of, or getting this tunnel vision to where you're fixating on reaching the top, I think is a really stupid way to go about it. And I've read things from people who are more successful than me, who have been doing this for years, saying, that their ultimate goal when they were kids, trying to make it as a musician was to play like this specific theater in their hometown, or do this specific concert or something like that, and then walking off stage they realized they'd missed it. They'd missed the greatness of that because they were so focused and fixated on kind of getting to the top that they didn't take the time
sort of take a look around him and see, you know, the great things that were happening kind of on a smaller level. To me, making it is, I mean, right now, I have a job that I like that sort of pays my bills. I'm playing shows, I'm writing a lot, I enjoy doing what I'm doing. So, and in essence, I've made it. Like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'd like to see it, you know, take on a new form and go to another level or something like that, but focusing on something like that, I think is, you know, is not healthy. It's an unhealthy way to look at your craft as a musician.
I don't know why I care, 'cause every time it stays the same. We'll go on, keep believing all those things that you say that you don't mean. You don't mean.
Why is this like a rap race? This isn't a competition, you know? Again, like, this is... I see there's this whole kind of line of thinking I think is really problematic, you know? Just... It's not a numbers game when it comes to music. It's not how many CDs I've sold or how fiscally successful I am, or there's this line of, you know, demarcation from the haves and the have-nots. You know, that's I think that kind of, that's a really hostile mentality for art to exist in. So you should care. Like, you shouldn't. You don't need to. No one is required to care about an artist or not. You know. I think what matters is if you're creating art, if a piece of art resonates with you, then that artist has done their job successfully. So, I mean, I don't give a shit whether you care about me making it as a singer-songwriter or not. Like, it doesn't bother me, you know, it doesn't concern me. You know, if I do what I do because I feel compelled to do it, because there's something inside of me that feels the need to write down these songs.
All that I learned's been taught to me. What can I trust? Other is everything I've not seen.
I don't care what line of work you're in. Every person, every human wants to feel kind of accepted or been, you know, be told that you matter as an individual. And so I'm by no means immune to something like that. And I think, you know, whether you be an artist or whether you be a construction worker or, you know, a trash man or something like that, you know, no matter what, like, I think in your personal life you want to feel accepted and loved, and that you matter, you know, count.
I'd say in 5 years, like, hopefully I'm still doing what I'm doing in some capacity, you know. I mean, I think probably at that point, like, it'll either turn into something that, like, you know, I can make a living out of, you know, and that, you know, I can kind of have as a career. If I decide to do something else, like, I know it'll always be a part of, like, what I do. I mean, I love doing it. It's, you know, it's something that I really have a lot of, like, passion for, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, whether that's, like, my job or I have another job, music will still be there. I'm not sure what capacity. We'll have to see how that plays out.
I'm not confused by little things sneaking up and ruining my time. But lately I'm a full of trouble and I cannot find the reason why. And so I walk sometimes late at night. I'm going right out of my brain. I don't know what's to blame. I'll blame it on the dark night, stealing my light. What's wrong from right in that dark night? And I am a simple man, like seeing land, and I wish that I could see in black and white. But But something crawled inside of me. It's kicking around and messing